In March 2022, in the sun-drenched city of Phoenix, Arizona, trust in doctors was as solid as the desert rock. A white coat was a symbol of safety. A medical degree was a promise of compassion. And in a private clinic on the west side of the city, one doctor stood above the rest. Dr. Adrian Cole. At 41, he was the picture of success. Charming, handsome, and incredibly well-spoken. His online reviews were flawless, glowing with praise. 2. He was a regular guest on local health podcasts, sharing his wisdom with a captive audience. His patients didn't just respect him, they adored him. But behind that professional, reassuring smile, a darkness was growing, a darkness no one could see. Because Adrian Cole didn't become a doctor to heal people. He became a doctor to control them. And soon, to eliminate them. A 29-year-old woman named Hannah walked into Dr. Cole's office, desperate for relief from chronic pain. She had been on a frustrating journey. Seeing multiple doctors who couldn't diagnose her problem, Dr. Cole looked at her with what she thought was deep empathy. He told her, "You're safe here. I'll fix everything." Those words were a balm to her weary soul. He prescribed her medication and, with a firm but gentle tone, insisted she see only him. "Don't talk to other doctors," he advised. "It will only complicate your care." At first, Hannah felt incredibly special, like she was getting exclusive, dedicated treatment. She didn't understand that isolation was the first step in his twisted plan. Over the next few months, Dr. Cole began to secretly increase Hannah's dosages. It wasn't enough to be immediately lethal, but just enough to slowly chip away at her body and her mind. Her friends started to notice alarming changes. She was constantly nervous, her balance was off, and she seemed perpetually confused. She began missing work, unable to string her thoughts together. Her entire personality shifted. But whenever anyone raised concerns, she would passionately defend Dr. Cole. "He is the only one who is helping me," she'd insist, her voice shaking with a conviction that wasn't her own. She had no idea that the man she trusted with her life was the very person poisoning it, drop by drop. Then, another patient vanished. Her name was Stephanie. Like Hannah, she had been seeing Dr. Cole for several months. But Stephanie had a different kind of spiritus strong, questioning one. She wasn't one to blindly accept authority. She started challenging Dr. Cole's methods, asking pointed questions about her treatment. She finally told him she was considering switching doctors and wanted a complete copy of her medical files. That was her fatal mistake. That night, Stephanie disappeared without a trace. At the time, the police didn't see a connection. It was just another missing person case in a sprawling city. The dots were there, but nobody was looking at the right picture. But inside the clinic, one person's intuition was screaming that something was terribly wrong. A nurse named Julia, who had worked alongside Dr. Cole for years, couldn't shake a growing sense of dread. She noticed medication charts being altered without any corresponding doctor's notes. She saw dosages prescribed at levels far higher than anything recommended in medical literature. Most chillingly, she saw a pattern. Dr. Cole would suddenly cancel all his appointments on certain days. When she cross-referenced those dates, she found they were the exact same days his patients had gone missing. Her conscience could no longer stay silent. Julia made a courageous decision. She went to the police, armed with printed appointment logs and a heart heavy with suspicion. She became the whistleblower, the one voice brave enough to question the perfect doctor. Her testimony was the spark that ignited a full-blown investigation. Detectives immediately placed Dr. Cole under covert surveillance. They tracked his movements, dug into his phone records, and meticulously analyzed the hospital's pharmaceutical inventory. The search yielded two crucial, damning pieces of evidence. First, they discovered he had purchased specific chemicals that are illegal for civilian physicians to possess. Second, they found that the complete patient records for two women, the same two who had disappeared, had been scrubbed from the clinic's servers. That was more than enough. The investigators now had what they needed for a warrant. Under the cloak of darkness, a police team raided Dr. Cole's private property, a secluded house just outside the city. They weren't just looking in the house, they were looking for anywhere he could hide his secrets. Behind the main residence, they found a nondescript storage room. The moment they opened the door, the air grew cold. Inside, they found a horrifying collection, unlabeled medication vials, 2 blood-stained surgical gloves, and a box containing personal belongings of the missing patients: a watch, a small earring, a driver's license. This wasn't a storage room, it was his kill room. The doctor had transformed into a serial predator, using his medical authority not as a shield to protect, but as a weapon to hunt. The arrest was swift and public. Police descended on the clinic during business hours. Patients, sitting in the waiting room, watched in stunned disbelief as the man they trusted was placed in handcuffs. The scene was surreal. Some started to cry, others screamed in denial. Through it all, Dr. Cole remained eerily calm. He didn't resist, he didn't panic, he didn't even show a flicker of surprise. As the officers led him away, he turned his head and asked a single, chilling question: which one of them finally talked? That one sentence, that casual admission of them, was a confession in itself. It sealed his guilt more tightly than any physical evidence could. During the trial, the prosecution painted a terrifying portrait of the man in the defendant's box. They called him a predator with a medical degree, a monster hiding in plain sight. Witness after witness took the stand, describing him as calculating, manipulative, and brilliant but utterly soulless. The evidence was overwhelming, the testimony unshakable. The jury, faced with the horrific truth, needed only 3 hours to reach a verdict: guilty of multiple murders. Judges, in delivering the sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, looked directly at Cole and said, "You were supposed to save lives. Instead, you chose to take them." Today, in Arizona and beyond, parents teach their children a new, sobering lesson. Evil doesn't always announce itself with a bang. Sometimes, it walks in quietly, wearing a crisp white coat and offering a gentle smile. The case of Dr. Adrian Cole became a chilling case study in medical schools worldwide, a stark reminder that not all monsters hide in dark alleys. Some sit in polished offices with degrees hanging on the wall. Some speak in soft, reassuring tones while planning the unthinkable. And sometimes, the deadliest serial killers in our society are the ones we've been taught to trust the most. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the cases that make us question everything. Stay safe out there.